the save.
Oh, you got to get a shot here.
Final seconds. Bryant for the win. Bang!
Here's the pitch on the way, a swing and a belt, left field, way back, Blue Jays win it! The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions.
I gotta give Kyrie Irving a lot of credit for what he said on his IG post when he mentioned that the NBA should put Kobe Bryant as the logo of the NBA. But also what he said also in his IG post when he stated that Black Kings built the league. Now, there's some black backlash into what Kyrie said, not because of what he said about Kobe being the logo. We're going to get to that in a second. But because of what he said when he mentioned that Black Kings built the league. Now, you're seeing some people that are critical of his statements on his IG posts, and then you got some people on various YouTube videos that are saying, and this is coming from so-called black people, saying that what?
Why does Kyrie have to make this a race thing?
My thing is this: where is Kyrie wrong in that statement? Now, as far as Kobe Bryant being the logo of the NBA, me personally, I'm not objecting to it. I personally don't have a problem with Kobe being the logo. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. I think Kobe has had enough respect from people he played against, people he's mentored, people he's influenced, and the man has 5 rings. And he's also he was posthumously inducted into the Hall of Fame last year. So I don't think people should be dismissing Kobe being the logo. Even Jerry West himself stated that he wouldn't mind not being the logo. That's who's the current logo for the NBA. You have a current array of players that are suggesting that Kobe should be on there. As I stated, I have no disagreement with it. I think it would be a wonderful thing, and I think this would be a great way for the NBA to pay homage to one of the all-time greats. Now, let's get to the statement, Black Kings built this league. I'm in 100% agreement with Kyrie Irving on that statement. Yes, there were lots of great non-black players in the league. Now granted, NBA started in 1946, and they didn't even have the first black basketball player until 1950. But if we're going to make a case of all these great white players from back in the day, let's look at the Boston Celtics, for example. Yes, they had Bob Cousy, they had Tom Heizon, John Havlicek, and all of these other great white players, you know what I'm saying? But ask any one of those players from back in that day, and they would tell you they would not have won all those titles in the 50s and 60s if it wasn't for the great Bill Russell. And give Red Auerbach his props for basically finessing 3 or 4 teams into getting Bill Russell in the 1956 NBA draft. If anybody deserves to be the logo, it should be Bill Russell. 11 championships in 13 seasons. First black head coach to ever be a coach of any professional league. But I digress. The greatest basketball players throughout the history of the NBA were us black men. We talking Kobe, we talking LeBron, we talking Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Oscar Robertson, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, the list goes, Allen Iverson, the list goes on and on and on. There are so many talented and gifted brothers that have made the NBA into what it is today. Not only just the NBA, let's look at the NFL. The NFL was an all-white league until, the 1950s? And look what happened in the 1950s. You had the Jim Browns. Later, you had Gail Sayers, you had the Lynn Swans, and in the 80s you had the Lawrence Taylors and the Jerry Rices, and then in the 90s the Cowboys, the Emmitt Smiths, the Michael Irvins, the Deion Sanders. Then you come into the 2000s, and this is where the era of the quarterback comes into play. You got your Donovan McNabbs, you got your Mike Vick, and then wide receivers, Terrell Owens. Then it goes on and on and on, and now look at the league today. You got black quarterbacks winning, such as Patrick Mahomes. You got Deshaun Watson. You had Cam Newton in the 2010s. I mean, we brothers in the NFL make up about close to 70% of the league, and then in the NBA we make up at least 75% of the league. So we have built these leagues into what they are. And let's not look only in professional sports. In college, how you think these colleges are making billions of dollars a year, not only in television revenue but through merchandise sales as well. They made this money off the backs of brothers that played the game for the love of it, and later on just went professional to make lots of money. So yes, I agree with Kyrie Irving when he says that the NBA and the NFL were built off the backs of brothers. We built this league, but the one major component in what we're failing to do as a collective in 2021, we're not owning any leagues. We're not owning these merchandises. We're not having claim to equity stake in these sponsorships and these endorsements. Yes, brothers are making more money now than ever before in sports, and I salute them brothers for that. But the fact of the matter is, out of the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball, and even soccer combined, there is only one, and I repeat, one majority owner in all of these sports, and that's Michael Jordan. So building this league through our play, through our talents, and through our skills is very vital. And Kyrie Irving is absolutely correct. However, we got to start taking it up a notch and start owning these leagues. Start following examples of what Ice Cube was set out with the Big Three. And work collectively together so where players can, by the time they retire, they'll have some type of equity to where they can own some shit, man. Kyrie Irving was trying to encourage some of his NBA peers to, start their own league last year, and that got shut down by all these analysts and all of these ass kissers all throughout the sports media world. So yes, Kobe deserved to have his likeness on the logo, but let's go beyond just a logo. Let's go beyond just a status symbol. Let's start owning what we've built. This is the biggest problem we have as black men, not only in this country, but also in Africa. Africa has tons of resources that if the Africans took it amongst themselves and just owned and controlled the materials, the natural resources, we can help each other throughout this globe. I'm talking about as melanated people. We're already foolishly helping Europeans and Americans. Why not as Africans help each other with it? That's the whole thing behind brothers building something. Not only do we build leagues, we have to own these leagues so that we can pass down true generational wealth for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 generations. We have to start thinking beyond just shooting basketball or throwing the football or throwing the baseball. We're good at that, and no correction. We're great and phenomenal at doing that. However, the conversation needs to be, we got to be in those boardrooms. We have to be in these business meetings. We got to pay the cost to be the boss. We have to start talking ownership, because I don't care who you are, regardless if you making money on my level or you close to billionaire status. Ownership is revolution, homies. Ownership, ownership, ownership. Building and investing and growing and owning it and controlling it, and then having a ripple effect to where it trickles down positively amongst your people and then amongst your community would allow us to have an economic spurt or an economic growth that far exceeds any type of economic surplus that we've ever experienced. In other words, if we start owning something, putting our people on and passing it down, man, we can basically rid ourselves of all this poverty and foolishness that we display in our community on an everyday basis. So in conclusion, I agree with what Kyrieirving said. Yes, brothers have built leagues. Brothers have built the capital in which non-blacks have taken advantage of. Hell, we built this nation that we still to this day ain't receiving the full benefits from. But now we gotta come up with a way of not only building something, but owning and controlling it, so that when the next generations come behind us, we can just pass the mantle or the torch off to them, and then they figure out a way on how to do it on an even bigger and better level. There's levels to this success. We built leagues, we built organizations, hell, we built countries. But it's time to establish and own our own governments, our own institutions, our own leagues, etc. And once we do that, then we've risen to a level of power where every other ethnicity, every other nation on the face of this planet gotta recognize us and look at us automatically as great. It's only up to us to rid ourselves of just being workers. There's nothing wrong with being a worker. But the moment you start working, start learning how to be a boss. And when you be a boss, then you can talk shop with everybody else that are bosses. And they gotta respect your conglomerate. Black Kings, continue to be great. But let's start moving it up another notch. Start thinking on a higher level. Shout out to KRS-One. Peace and love.